I used to live in this house where when the sun set, it would turn the whole bedroom red. It was really freaky. Like a year before I moved out, I was convinced it was haunted because I heard all these noises downstairs. So I go down into the basement, and it turns out that someone had broken in and was living there. In 2002, this was my recording setup. This is where I recorded most of my album, The Red Bedroom, except for 2 songs, back when the digital world wasn't quite omnipresent and life felt a bit more analog and tangible. To the right of this area was where all of my keyboards were, and I wrote these lyrics. I'm losing my faith in humankind, and recorded it on a boombox on cassette. And those lyrics went on to be the opening lyrics from track 3 of this record, Red Bedroom. So let us begin the deep dive backstory of my song, Humankind.
I'm losing place in humankind. It's becoming ever hard to find in a human's kind.
This tune ended up being co-produced by Paul Kolderie, who'd worked with Radiohead on Pablo Honey and Hole for their record Live Through This, alongside my dear friend Ed Ackerson, who's since passed away. So let's flash back one more year to the year 2001. So I get Yellow Brick Road used on cassette at Cheapo Records in Minneapolis, and then I'm over with it. Got it, loved it, but yeah, when you play 70s style piano, they're gonna compare you to Elton John. It's inevitable at some point. It's funny because sometime that year I was playing solo in a hotel bar when this huge dude gets on stage as I'm playing. He drops $1 on my piano and he says, "Rocket Man." Now, Rocket Man is a song I don't know the words or music to still, but I proceeded to give an abstract cover version of that song that worthy of $1. He didn't seem to notice or care. Nobody seemed to notice or care, and that's sort of the beauty of playing in hotel bars, I guess. But back to Humankind, well, writing this song, I was working late night shifts, 3rd shifts, and then I would go and play gigs in Chicago and Iowa, and Milwaukee regionally, and my career was just starting to take off. Probably I should have been immersing myself in post-Y2K rock innovations like Amnesiac by Radiohead, or Is This It by The Strokes, or that Tool record Lateralis, but what I was really obsessed with was the early 70s. Bowie's Hunky Dory, Carole King's Tapestry, and Springsteen's Asbury Park. Yellow Brick Road was a blip on my obsessions, but it came through in Humankind. Instead of keeping a diary, I write music.
I'm losing place in humankind. I don't want to lose nothing. I don't want to go blind. All I want is peace of mind.
So I write Humankind, and I dig it, and I show it to the band, and they dig it, and by the end of summer 2001, we've learned Humankind, and we've got plans to debut it at a little tiny show at Carleton College in their student concert center called The Cave on September 14th, 2001. But then, on September 11th, the whole World Trade Center thing happened, and everybody's sense of normalcy was just shattered. I don't think the college pushed the show forward. I think they just had it that Friday, and it was needed. People needed a break. They needed music because it was a stressful time. So we go into Humankind, and right away after the opening lyrics, this student in the audience starts screaming. He's mad. He's visually upset about the lyrics. He's angry. It's a sensitive time in history, and everybody's emotions were raw and exposed then. And even though here's some locally known songwriter playing at a small college, in the bigger sense of life, radio stations were really sensitive to songs. They were banning things like Live and Let Die from the radio, and that's because song lyrics have always been a thing people are sensitive to. I think that's because we look to songs to speak our hearts, and when a lyric conflicts with the heart, it's more upsetting than, say, something said in a newspaper editorial. So after the show, I talked to the young guy. He's an educated person, obviously going to Carleton College, and it's not confrontational. I just say, "What's up, buddy? Why you upset?" And he says, "I just don't want anybody to lose their faith in humankind. We need humankind to prevent more things like this from happening. When we write songs, we're doing it at home or in the studio, more or less as self-reflection. But once you get behind a microphone, the interior thoughts become amplified proclamations. And this event in this tiny little college event center was a profound moment of understanding for me that words carry immense power. So I got home and I changed the line. Not for him, but because of him. And by switching faith to place, the song suddenly takes ownership of its existential confusion. I was going deep into Elton John's music for a tiny little period of time. It was something I'd never done. It was like a brief time. I didn't grow up listening to Elton John songs at all. There was classical piano lessons, which I hated, jazz piano lessons, which I was too young to fully get, and rock piano lessons, which was basically the Doors, the Beatles, and Pink Floyd. No Elton, not even Donald Duck. It wasn't until 2001 that I even listened to the full Yellow Brick Road album, and in particular Grey Seal, which you can see as an influence on the latter half of Humankind. So the band continues to play that song a lot. It becomes a staple in the set, and when it's time to record the live album in 2003, we actually did record it, but it didn't make the cut. But there is video of it. It's right here. But in the winter of, I think, 2001, 2002, that winter, I've got enough money to record 3 songs at Flower Studio with Ed for the Red Bedroom. I record Humankind, Love Look At You, and a track called Unborn Sons and Daughters.
I picked up a motorbike. I took a week off from driving and I just started riding.
What I was really unsure was about using my digital piano, even though I played it live on stage. But Paul Kolderie says that he was working with Warren Zevon on the album Life Will Kill Ya, and he used a digital piano, and that was enough for me. I was sold. We ended up using digital piano on the whole record, and I used it on the next one, Mr. Serious. So on Red Bedroom, there's lots of fidelity, and the other songs were recorded at the Red Bedroom house, which, since I was working third shift, I had covered my windows with red blankets, and they were enough to block out most of the light, but it would kind of get red in my bedroom around sunset when the sun hit the windows. A few things on that record weren't recorded in that studio. Slim Dunlop of the Replacements solo on Travelin' High was recorded at his house. We recorded the drums for Travelin' High in the living room of the Red Bedroom house. But Dan Didier of The Promise Ring recorded the drums for Who's Gonna Save You Now and City of Sound in Milwaukee. So we recorded Humankind and Love Look At You on 2-inch tape, but the rest of it was just 16-bit on Windows XP. So I really started touring hard in 2003, and Humankind was played every night for about 10 years. I don't think I'm losing my place in Humankind anymore. The more of life I experience, the more I see I don't even want to fit in. This journey is a tapestry of choices and consequences, each thread woven with intention and hope, creating a picture that is uniquely our own. One more story that's important. The Red Bedroom had been out a couple of months, and I get a letter in the mail. And it was a letter from somebody in jail. This was still at the time where addresses were in the phone book. But this person was very nice. They said they'd been losing their place in Humankind as well, and it felt good to know that they weren't the only one. It touched me because here was this person in a really rough spot in life and taking time out to write about my song. It made me glad that I changed that word from losing my faith to losing my place, because I feel like we can find our places again much easier than we can our faith. Once we lose that, it's the beginning of the unraveling. And that's not a goal of mine to contribute to on a small scale or a large one, or wherever songs end up taking musicians in their careers, in what Prince calls this thing called life.